Hello, welcome back to the NOTCAST. It is 31st of December 2023, it's number 350. So today I'm going to go for some very dramatic lighting because it's the end of the year and I wanted to do a wrap up on 2023 as I usher us all into 2024. And in 2024 is the year where one of the best films ever made has been set. How could I keep you in suspense? Highlander II, The Quickening, which of course is absolutely atrocious. If the year is better than the film, firstly, that's not saying much. Secondly, well, that's not going to be difficult, is it really? Because Highlander 2 is one of the worst films ever made. Only slightly redeemed by the director's cut edition, which is okay, I guess, at best, as opposed to absolutely bloody dreadful. So I'm going to take the dramatic lighting off and I'm going to go and put the big light on. Big light on is the kind of talk that people have when they're not very grown up. Like they go, I'm going to put the big light on now. It's northern talk. And I'm not northern, I'm from the Midlands, but everywhere, lots of planets have a north. So let's put the big light on and see how that's going to look in a second. That's better, isn't it? Certainly feels less dingy, less dark, less James Bond bad guy. So 2023 wrap up for me. I'm not expecting many people to watch this, and I'm not expecting, last time I did one of these, so I know some of you didn't like it, so let's go from a slightly different angle. So the main thing is, if you're watching this, you've made it to the end of 2023. That is an achievement in itself. Everyone's talking about, I lost weight, or I did this, or I did that, or I did I climbed a mountain for charity or something. And, it's been a hard year on the global political, economic, social, technical kind of level. It's been a really challenging, weird year in terms of what's happening in the world out there. So the fact you've made it to the end of it, most of you, is an achievement in itself. It doesn't matter necessarily. Did you lose weight? Did you get the achievement that you wanted? Did you get the house? No. I always remembered of what John Lennon said, which is obviously he wasn't always the loveliest of human beings, but like all humans, flawed and probably generally well-meaning. Said, a teacher asked me what I wanted to be when I was younger, and I said, I wanted to be happy. And then he said, I don't think that's really, and I said, I think you're missing the point of life, really, because the main point of life really is to enjoy your time on the planet, to enjoy the person that you are, to like who you are, and to like the world that you live in as best you can, which is something that I think I've managed to achieve this year. 2023 has been a much better year for me than some of my previous ones, it's fair to say. On a political level, the world has been once again a dumpster fire, heading for a cliff edge. We've got pretty much one of the worst government. We've got the worst government in history in Britain. I think it's certainly in living memory. Even though we don't have Boris Johnson, we have Rishi Sunak. We have corruption. We have incompetence. We have cronyism. We have record NHS waiting lists. The highest energy bills that we've ever had. Living standards have dropped, and we've effectively got a dead economy. We've got the government on one hand saying, we're putting loads more money into the NHS. And really what they're doing is that they're saying, actually, all the money that we fraudulently allowed to be defrauded from the country during the COVID scandal for PPE, that's £38 billion, by the way, ladies and jelly spoons. Lots of money. And they're saying, well, we're putting an extra, however many billions into the NHS. And it's like, no, you're not. Just pretending you're putting extra money into the NHS to make the newspapers look good. And of course, you have to think about the gap between what we're being told and what we're really experiencing, which are two very different things. So the world's quite miserable out there. Obviously, we've got the Cheeto Hitler, Trump, who is looking to try and be president again, which I don't think is a very good idea at all, considering, the little manner of an attempted armed insurrection 3 years ago. And we do have Elon Musk, who is definitive proof that richest isn't always or isn't often the same as the smartest or the best. On a professional level, for me, a really challenging year. We've done really well. I'm really proud of the people that I work with and the team that surround us. It really has been a great team effort. We've managed to successfully mitigate the risks of things like Ukraine, COVID, Brexit, all the wars, what not wars, hyperinflation, and done a really good job there delivering, I think, the best outcome I could have reasonably hoped for in what's happened. And everybody who I work with, I think really highly of, and I think they're very good at what they do. And I'm really pleased to be part of that team going forward. On a personal level, it's probably been the best year I've had in 5 years. I am sober, have been sober for, well, it'll be 5 years in 2024. My behaviour is better, it's more thoughtful, more considerate. I don't make so many mistakes. My decision-making abilities, I think, are better. I've had some queries about health and some problems about health which I've been dealing with. I'm obviously getting older, my back hurts more. I've had some questions around things related to my health, so I had a pretty scary night at the end of March when I thought I was really poorly. Some of the symptoms were lining up to be very similar to something like a heart attack, and it turned out that wasn't what it was. That was quite a worry. And there were some other worries around my health which I'll be getting some answers for, and made some lifestyle changes to try and dent into those. So whereas at the start of this year I had a lot of questions around things relating to health and my body and how it worked, I've got much better ideas now around what's happened, what's happening, and what I can do to best kind of act in response to those, whereas before there was a lot of questions around it. I've had a fair chunk of, I think, what's the word to describe it? Spiritual insecurities, really, I suspect. So I've had a fair chunk of insecurities around age and appearance, and, am I old or ugly or fat or bald? Well, I know the answer to at least one of those is yes, I am bald. Thanks, all you YouTube commenters on the Roger Waters video telling me that I was bald. I had no idea until you pointed it out. Fucking dimwits. And, all of the questions which I have around that are things which I've started to get answers to. So I've been able to have conversations at quite a detailed level around situations I've been in to get an impartial view upon some of the things that have happened to me historically. I've come up with some ideas around how best to respond to those. And sometimes those responses have been a case of going, well, actually the situation that happened was pretty rubbish, and it wasn't something which I myself did wrong or got wrong as it went through. So my assessments of what was happening around me seem to be valid and appropriate. So I've ended the year in a much better place than when I started it. I've got answers to things that I had questions for. I have been able to clear away, I think, some of the fog around some of the things that have happened to me historically, to understand what really happened as opposed to what I thought happened, or that little voice in your head that tells you that you're not very good at certain things, or you're not, necessarily what you think you are, and realise that the answers were staring me right in the face. And I've reached a place where, like a lot of people, is as you get older you become who you are. And I like who I am, and I like the world that I live in and the world that I've got around me. It's been a really good year for me so far, actually. I feel a lot better about things and events and situations and circumstances, and a bit more comfortable with who I am. So after a few years of not necessarily knowing or being uncertain about things relating to getting older and to who I am and everything that goes with that, I now feel a lot more comfortable about it. And that's the main thing, is that you like who you are. You come to terms with who you are, because you can't change that. And you feel like you're enjoying the world that you live in, which is also really important. And that's where I am. So it's been a really good year, 2023 for me. I know for lots of you it hasn't been good. I'm really sorry about that. I can't really change that for most of you. I've lost a couple of friends this year, one through suicide, which has been a really sobering, sad kind of experience for me to live through. And to know that there was nothing that sometimes you think you know somebody and then you realise you only know parts of them. It's a real shame. you know, and I miss them. I was really hoping that I'd get to know them for the rest of their lives. It's just a shame that the rest of their lives wasn't as long as I was hoping it was going to be. So that's my 2023. Overall, the glass is definitely more than half full. It's been a really good year overall. There's been some amazing films. There's been some amazing nights out. Some brilliant gigs, actually. So film of the year is either Nicolas Cage's Dream Scenario or Cocaine Bear. And gig of the year undoubtedly Suede at the Electric in Brixton, 3 nights in the middle of December with friends from all over the world, and brilliant set lists. Got to see some of my favourite songs ever played live in the same room by a band that have changed my life and brought an immense amount of joy and meaning to the days. That's about it, really. The only other thing I will say is 25 years ago tonight, and that's why I'm wearing this t-shirt, 25 years ago tonight, I was at Alexandra Palace in London watching New Order, the Chemical Brothers, and Underworld play an all-nighter until about 4 o'clock in the morning. And we then drove back to Birmingham, where I put on a DVD of Charlie Chaplin's The Great Dictator at about 6 o'clock in the morning, whilst I waited for the buzz to leave me and for me to go to sleep. Incredible gig. Somewhat surprising, that's now half of my life ago, but at the same point, never be glad for what you're missing, be glad for what you've got, and that's where I am. So hopefully 2024 is going to be fantastic for you. It's definitely going to be better than the people living in Highlander II, the Quickening, and Happy New Year to you, and see you next year. So stay beautiful and stay in touch. Bye.